Thanks for joining us on Plus TV Africa. I'm Benga Aborowa. The United States President Donald Trump has nominated Brett Kavanaugh for the Supreme Court, setting the stage for a bruising confirmation battle. In a primetime announcement at the White House, Mr. Trump praised his peak as a brilliant jurist. The nominee, a District of Columbia Appeals Court judge, is a former advisor to former President George W. Bush.
The rule of law is our nation's proud heritage. It is the cornerstone of our freedom. It is what guarantees equal justice. And the Senate now has the chance to protect this glorious heritage by sending Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the United States Supreme Court.
Mr. President, thank you. Throughout this process, I've witnessed firsthand your appreciation for the vital role of the American judiciary. No president has ever consulted more widely or talked with more people from more backgrounds to seek input about a Supreme Court nomination. Mr. President, I am grateful to you, and I'm humbled by your confidence in me. Thank you. As a judge, I hire 4 law clerks each year. I look for the best. My law clerks come from diverse backgrounds and points of view. I am proud that a majority of my law clerks have been women. My judicial philosophy is straightforward. A judge must be independent and must interpret the law, not make the law.
The first 8 boys rescued from a cave in northern Thailand are in good mental and physical health, according to a health official. The boys who were brought out of the caves over the past 2 days have undergone X-rays and blood tests. They too have been treated for lung inflammation. They will remain under observation in hospital for at least 7 days. Officials say they hope to bring the rest of the group out on Tuesday. 4 of the boys and their coach are still deep in the Tham Luang cave. Kenya has signed a mutual legal assistance framework with Switzerland for the return of assets acquired from proceeds of corruption and crime. The new deal signed at State House, Nairobi, is expected to enhance an existing memorandum of understanding on the repatriation of proceeds of graft. Speaking after the signing of the legal assistance framework, the president of the Swiss Confederation, Alain Berset, said the agreement will expedite the recovery of proceeds of crime stashed in his country. Congolese President Joseph Kabila has put off a planned visit this week by United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres and refused to see U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley, who diplomats said had also separately planned to visit Kinshasa. Kabila, who succeeded his assassinated father, Laurent, in 2001, was busy organizing the December 23rd elections and had to postpone a visit by Guterres and African Union Commission Chairman Moussa Faki Mahamat, said Congolese government spokesman Lambert Mende. Haley met privately with Kabila for 90 minutes in Kinshasa in October, warning him that a relationship with the United States is dependent on how he acts going forward. Diplomats said she planned to visit this week again. The United States mission to the United Nations was not immediately available for comment on Haley's trip. And the president of Cameroon, Paul Biya, has issued a decree on Monday confirming a presidential election will be held on the 7th of October, in spite of a deteriorating security situation in the Anglophone regions of the Southwest and Northwest. The decree was read on public television, while the inhabitants of Bua, the capital of the Southwest region, were cramped to their homes for fear of impending danger, as he had earlier heard gunfire in the morning between soldiers and Anglophone separatists. The English-speaking country fell into crisis since the end of 2016. The county remains in a state of suspense and uncertainty following this recent decree by President Paul Biya. When we return, we'll bring you news making the headlines across Nigeria. Don't go away. The PDP on Monday formed a coalition with 38 other parties in the country. The parties announced when they met at the Musa Yar'Adua Center in Abuja, the nation's capital, that they would operate under the coalition of United Political Party. The announcement followed the signing of a memorandum of understanding by the leaders of the party in their bid to defeat President Muhammadu Buhari and the All Progressive Congress in the 2019 elections. Part of the agreement of the MOU was to mobilize support for consensus candidates at the center, state and legislative arm of government. PDP National Chairman Uche Secondus, former Vice President of Nigeria Atiku Abubakar, former Senate President David Mark, and RAPC Chairman Buba Galadima were present at the meeting. The meeting, organized by the Independent Electoral Commission, INEC, to intimate critical stakeholders, started on a peaceful note with the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, stating the readiness of the commission for credible conduct of the Saturday elections.
INEC is ready for the elections on Saturday, 14th of July. Let me once again reassure you that the choice of who becomes the next governor of Ekiti State is entirely in the hands of voters in Ekiti State.
While the Inspector General of Police, Idris Abubakar, read the Riot Act to the gathering crowd, that the police had developed enough personnel with the assistance of the armed forces and that of other agencies to man strategic positions in ensuring a peaceful exercise.
To forestall any threats of violence, the physical protection and safety of electoral personnel, both physical protection and safety of electoral personnel, both permanent and ad hoc staff, electoral observers, and the electoral materials during and after the elections until results are collected and announced. Apart from this, the police will be supported with over 4,390 security personnel from the armed forces.
No sooner than the microphone was handed over to the representative of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, that supporters of the political parties started shouting at each other. All efforts to calm the crowd by traditional rulers yielded no result as a pandemonium went on for several minutes, which compelled INEC officials and the security heads alongside the various candidates to dump the meeting midway.
By their words, they have promised that they are going to be free, fair, and credible and transparent election, and that is exactly what we expect from them, from the IGP and also from the chairman of INEC.
The National Youth Service Corps says Kemi Adeosun, the Minister of Finance, did apply for exemption certificate from the scheme, promising to investigate the circumstances surrounding the allegations of forgery. NYSC said this in response to inquiries by Premium Times. The newspaper had earlier reported how the Finance Minister allegedly forged the exemption certificate of the scheme. Those who are above the age of 30 years as of the time of the one-year mandatory service get exempted from NYSC, in addition to being a requirement for government and private sector jobs in Nigeria. The enabling law prescribes punishment for anyone who absconds from the scheme or forges its certificate. Adeosun graduated from the Polytechnic of East London in 1989 at the age of 22, and according to her curriculum vitae, the Finance Minister was born in March 1967. President Muhammadu Buhari is expected to inaugurate the recently completed first phase of the Abuja Light Rail project on Thursday, the 12th of July. The FCT Minister, Malam Mohammed Bello, said this on Monday that the President would also inaugurate the railway services, signaling the commencement of operations of the long-awaited rail services in the FCT, Abuja. And according to him, the phase, which comprises lots 1A and 3, is only an integral part of the 6 lots which form the scope of the FCT railway system. Several persons were feared killed following a deadly attack by suspected herdsmen on 5 communities in Newman and Dempsey local government areas of Adamawa State. The attackers also invaded Lao local government area of neighboring Taraba State, destroying properties. Residents said their communities were invaded by the gunmen on motorcycles, shooting sporadically into the air. The member representing Newman in the Adamawa State House of Assembly, Sodom Taedi, confirmed that the attack started from 4 p.m. on Sunday and lasted into the night. Taedi said most people were caught unawares, being a market day in one of the communities. We'll go on a quick break, and we come back, we'll be bringing you business reports after this. Do stay with us. And in business, the implementation of the 7 critical gas development projects in Nigeria worth $3.7 billion has brought about a partnership agreement between the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Shell, and others. Dr. Mekanti Baru, the Group Managing Director of NNPC, said 5 of the 7 projects are by NNPC joint ventures and the 2 other projects by the Nigerian Petroleum Development Corporation. The agreement was signed on Monday during the framing workshop on the 7 critical development projects in Lagos. According to Baru, at the completion of these gas projects, the 3 billion cubic feet per day gap, which had been identified by NNPC to be in demand by 2020, will be bridged. In order to address the major challenges affecting affordable housing in Nigeria, the central bank announced it is collaborating with the Nigerian refinancing company. This was disclosed today by Aisha Ahmed, the CBN Deputy Governor, Financial System Stability in Abuja. The collaboration is aimed at addressing legal and administrative constraints faced in the housing sector and reduce risk of lending to the housing sector. Aisha said currently Nigeria's housing stock is about 13 million with a population of about 180 million people. Hence, 60 trillion naira is required to address the country's housing deficit, according to a World Bank study. Still ahead on Plus TV News is our roundup on sports, entertainment, and we'll be back in a moment. Do stay with us.
In entertainment, Nigerian singer Owaje's car was vandalized recently by hooligans in Lagos. The singer took to social media on the 9th of July to share the information and photo of the vandalized part of the car. According to her, one should drive off if one goes to an eatery or lounge and there is no space to park. She continued further by saying she believes the security men who are paid to watch the cars did this to her. The first pro-recording contract for the music group Jackson 5 with the late Joe Jackson's signature will be up for sale at the Guernsey's auction house in New York. The themed auction will see African-American historic and cultural treasures on sale on the 25th and 26th of July. The record contract was between Steeltown Records and the Jacksons and signed by Joe for his 5 sons. The auction will cover more than 700 items from civil rights movement, African-American films and music. It is predicted that the auction will break records in various categories. American actor Jonathan Rhys Meyers has been arrested following an altercation with his wife Mara Lane whilst aboard an American Airlines flight. Sources say a representative of the airline on Monday witnessed a domestic dispute while flying from Miami to Los Angeles. Apparently, there was no physical component to the altercation, and as such, it was deemed no crime committed, and as a result, the 40-year-old was released. Myers, who was treated for alcoholism in the past, was said to have relapsed in September 2017, right after his wife's miscarriage. They are yet to respond to requests for comments. And that's it on entertainment, the very best in sports, right after this.
Hello and welcome to Sports Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko with the stories breaking around the world of sports. In athletics, Blessing Okagbare and sprint hurdler Tobiloba Amusan have been listed to compete for points and cash at the Prize Muley Abdallah Stadium in Rabat, Morocco, where the IAAF Diamond League train will make its 9th of 14 stops on Friday. And this will be the first time the two Nigerians will be appearing together at the IAAF biggest stage for one-day meetings. Although Okagbari will be making her 3rd consecutive trip to Rabat, and Amusan, the reigning Commonwealth Games 100-meter hurdles champion, will make her first visit to the city. And Jamaica's quarter-miler Sharika Jackson, who is only 100th of a second slower in 22.05 seconds than the Nigerian so far this term, is also a contender for the $10,000 prize and on offer, and the maximum 8 Diamond League points, as well as British girl Dina Asha Smith and Jenna Prandini, the 2015 NCAA 200-meter champion. It will be Tobiloba Amusan's 2nd ever appearance in the IAAF Diamond League Series, following her debut last May at the Golden Gala in Rome, Italy, where she placed 3rd. And going over to football, former Juve and Italy goalkeeper Gianluigi Buffon says he still has something to give deep within him after signing for Paris Saint-Germain. And Buffon left Juventus at the end of last season, ending a 17-year stay at the club he played 656 matches for. And the 9-time Serie A winner was rumored to be offered an off-field role at Juve, but instead signed a 1-year deal with the French champions. And Buffon ended his Juventus career with a 7th consecutive league title. And he will be linked up with new PSG head coach Thomas Tuchel at Parc des Princes, and is likely to compete with Alphonse Areola for a starting place. And the French club reached the last 16 of the 2017-2018 Champions League before being knocked out by eventual winners Real Madrid. And that competition is one of the few major honors to have eluded Buffon in his career, after losing the 2003 final to AC Milan, the 2014 showpiece to Barcelona, and the 2017 final to the current holders. But Buffon said the Champions League is not an obsession. Going over to transfers, Everton are interested in signing Crystal Palace winger Wilfred Zaha this summer. And Marco Silva has been a long-time admirer of the Ivory Coast international and is keen to make him his first signing at the club. And Everton will, however, have to stave off competition for Zaha with Borussia Dortmund and Tottenham, both understood to hold an interest in the player. And Spurs have been chasing Zaha for a considerable amount of time and are still monitoring the situation, despite last week being told that they will have to bid in the region of £70 million to sign him. And Crystal Palace's £70 million valuation may also price Everton out, but the club are willing to explore the possibility of selling Yannick Bolasie in order to raise money to fund the move. And over to tennis, world number 1 Rafael Nadal reached his first Wimbledon quarterfinal since 2011 with a 6-3, 6-3, 6-4 win over unseeded Czech Jiří Veselý. He is still on the track to meet top seed Roger Federer on the 10th anniversary of their epic 2008 final. That's in Sunday's men's singles finals. And for Rafa Nadal, he will play either Argentine 5th seed Juan Martín del Potro or Francis Gauss Simon in the last 8. And the 17-time Grand Slam champion is playing his first tournament since winning an 11th French Open title last month after pulling out of Queens, a move which is paying dividends to him. And that's it on Sport Updates on Plus TV. I am Udoka Njoku.
And that's our news roundup of events. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us. I am Benga Aboroa. Have a fantastic day.